This is part 2 now of Post Apocalyptic Classroom, and I'm going to get started with the blockout phase. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've gathered some references, and I'm using PureRef here, and I've gathered references from the internet of various images that I think will inspire me and give me some direction and some guidance. Many of them are actually 3D. Some people say, like they really like to model from the real world stuff, and I often like to look at the 3D. That'll give me hints on how things were made and scale and stuff like that, and just the general mood of things. So here you can see this is probably somebody following the video tutorial that I mentioned from Udemy on the Post-Apocalyptic Classroom. Many of these images were done by the same artist, and also some of them were done by different artists, and they're doing the same kind of thing. So this is kind of what we're going for here with the various objects that we're going to be creating: the desks and the books and the bookcases and the ceiling tiles and the windows. That kind of thing. Mine is going to be a little bit different than this, but it's going to be similar. And I am not going to be using ZBrush for this. It would be nice if I could, but I don't have ZBrush. I had it many years ago when it first came out. I bought it. It was around $600 from Pixelogic, but I don't have it anymore. And so I will be doing some damage. As you can see here, I mean, we're not seeing a lot of ZBrush here. Maybe a little bit of Substance Designer, maybe a bit of ZBrush, but just by bending and deforming in Blender and tossing things around and using the textures as well. All right, so I have various images of things that I thought were kind of inspiring and helpful, and I'll be referring to these periodically. I also have, of course, some real-world images and some, images from what might be, classrooms in Ukraine or wherever. Okay, so I'll be coming back to this periodically. I'm just going to minimize that for now, and here I am in Blender with just the default cube, and I'm going to come over to the Scene tab, and I'm going to click on Units. I'm going to switch to Imperial. We're going to use Imperial for this, or for some of it anyhow, and I'm going to get started and create the room with this cube. All right, so what I want to do is I want to press N, and I want to look over at my units here, and I'm going to create my room, and I'm going to make it in the Z direction. I'm going to go for maybe 10 feet. I might even go down to 9. Generally, they're 9 to 11 feet or so. So I'm going to go in the middle there. And if in the Y direction, I'm going to go with, I may go 28. I was thinking of 30. And I might go 26 feet in the, like that. And just going to bring that up a little bit. And let's see, if I take this and I just hide that for the moment and look inside here, that may be okay for what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to start by breaking out pieces. I'm going to take that, I'm going to press P, and that I'm going to label right away. That's going to be my roof. And I'm going to hide it. This here, this is going to be my back wall. So I'm going to call it wall back so that I can alphabetically do that. This one here I'm going to have windows on. So this is going to be my wall window, or wall windows. I'll take that and I'll hide that. This one here, that's going to be my front wall, or wall front. This one's going to have a door on it. So this one will be wall door. And that leaves me with this one and that's going to be my floor. So I've got all my pieces. I can hide that one and that one, and then have a look in here. I think I'll bring everything back and just bring it up a little bit on the Z, so that we don't see the X-axis, or just don't see the axes through it. Okay, so I've got that. So I'm going to go ahead and hide those two, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually set up a character, and I'm just going to use a cube to do this. And I'm going to turn on snap to faces, and I should be able to snap like that. I'm going to make my character 6 feet, and just like that. I'm going to scale Shift Z, make it a little thinner. So that's my guy there. So I bring him over there. The ceilings are 9 or 10 feet, and I'll get a sense of scale from that. Okay. So I'm going to, let's do this. I'm going to turn on the cavity shader for the moment, and to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to turn on shadows, and I'm going to do something else in just a minute as well. So I'm going to create some windows along this wall here. I'm going to be giving the wall some thickness in a bit. Let's go with 4. Scale that in the Y, like that. Bevel. Scale in the Y a little bit more. I'm going to bring another edge loop up near the top and another edge. Now this one, I want to bring my guy over here. So that's an adult, and this is going to be like an elementary school. And so just imagine his waist down there. And nice big windows. Yeah, with the size that the kids could come up and still look out. Well, not necessarily topple out. Let's see if I want to do it like just like that. There's 3 windows with a bit of room there. All right, well, some of that can be changed, so I'll go ahead with that. And now we're going to bring him over towards here. Now I'm going to label him as I'll call it human, I don't know, person, whatever. I'm going to duplicate him though to create the door. I'm just going to copy that over here, and right off the bat I'm going to call this door. This is really going to be just like to block out the door. And come over here, and in the Y, we're looking at around 3 feet. I might go to 4 feet and 6 feet. He's 6 feet, and I may go. Let's try 7.5 feet high, and see what that would be like if I was to sort of push that through. And imagine there's a hole there. Imagine he is now going to come walking through the door. And, you know, we don't have a real good sense of his width, but those are approximate measurements for the door. Anyhow, so I'm going to leave that there, and I've already labeled it as door. So that's okay. Those are the main cutouts. And now I'm going to give some thickness to this. And there's 2 potential reasons why I'm going to give this thickness. One is that I will possibly be using Eevee, and by having thickness, that can help prevent some stray light from coming through. It may not work on the bottoms because they're not going to be joined, they're just going to be thickened. But if you were bringing this, let's say, into Unreal or whatever, and you only had you know, first of all, this is all flipped, so let's take this, and it doesn't really matter. I don't actually have to flip it right now, but if you only had you know, faces visible on one side in something like Unreal, the light, if you had light on the outside, would just shine right through the whole thing, and we don't want that. So I'm going to give this some thickness, and that's going to help with the facing. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to add solidify, and I'm going to add minus 0. Actually, let's go minus 6 inches. Let's try that. So that's 6. So minus maybe 4 inches. And I'm going to just make sure that my scale is, there we go. We have to Control A, apply the scale. So I'm going to actually go minus 6 inches again. I'll go back to the 6 inches, and we'll see if that's enough to get my door frames or my window frames in there the way I want. And by doing that, you know, I'm okay with the position of my poly. So I'm just going to do that for all of these. So what I can do is I can do this, and I can select that and Control L, copy modifiers, and I want to Control A, apply rotation and scale, and that did it all. Let's bring back though the other ones. I'm going to do those two as well. Control L, copy modifiers, and Control A, rotation and scale. So I'm going to take those and hide them again. So I now have some thickness. We'll see if that's the right amount. Okie dokie. So we're going to have some blackboards or a chalkboard at the front, and some bookcases, as you saw in some of the images. Let's see if I can bring that back. Here we go. Okay, we've got various bookcases, and of course in this one here there's a bookcase. There's one there and there. Okay, as well as the desks. We'll be doing that. So I'll be doing the desk in this video, the desk and the chair, modeling those, but blocking out all of, you know, the other stuff. All right, so I'm just going to quickly throw in another cube, and we'll bring that back here. And for this one, I'm just going to create it by eye, and it might end up being a little bit too big at first. Once we make the desks, that will make a lot of the difference. So let's say I've got that. So you can have a bookcase there. And so what I'll do is I will call this bookcase 1. And then I would probably do another one here. And so that would be bookcase 2. And we'll do stuff along this back wall as well. But for the moment, I'm going to take this one, bring it out here, and I'm going to squish that down and change the height of this and bring it against the wall here. And we'll have a longer bookcase here, you know, with some shelves in it and a few objects. I'm not going to create too many objects, you know, because if you look at these images, you know, there's not that many things. There's the debris papers and various things, but you know, there's not that much stuff. All right, and that'll make it a little bit easier because we've got a lot of work to do anyhow. And as you probably know, I have a tendency to do too much detail almost. But what I would like to do here, and I'm just looking at this as the person, the teacher, versus this, so I'll cut into here and have a few things, not too many, but that's okay. And you know, these bookcases can be tall compared to the teacher. You might even need a step to get up. One of the objects I'd like to have, I'm going to bring my 3D cursor there, is a globe, and I'm going to do that real quick here. So I'm going to make a circle, and I'm going to go for, I think I'll go for 22 vertices. I'm not going to try to go low poly or anything. So we'll get the general thing, and then we'll get the size, and we may make some modifications. So this is a bit of a block out of it, but also a little bit sort of actually modeling the thing. Let's do something like that. And let's say we close that off. And then I'm going to do a little bit of beveling. So I'm going to have 3. And I'm going to come over here and here. Let's do this one. I'm going to bevel that with 3. So 3 edges going around. 3 segments to the bevel, so I'd have that. And I'm just going to make sure that my 3D cursor is on that thing there. And next I'm going to use, I think, a UV sphere. Actually, I'm looking from the side there. Am I? Yeah, oh, I can look through the window at it. Alright, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to use a UV sphere. I think I'll make this 24. And I'll bring that up. So, something like this. And what we'll do is I'll come in here. I'm just going to look from the top. And this edge that's right in the middle, it goes around. I'm going to press 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click that edge. That goes all the way around. I'm going to use that. I'm going to Shift D to duplicate it. I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to S to scale it a little bit. And P to break it out. And I'll use that to make the thing. Whatever you call that thing. I'm going to select it and I'm going to press E to extrude, and I'm going to give it a little bit of thickness like this. Select it all. I'm going to Alt N, recalculate outside. Actually, no, let's look first, because maybe there'll be something. Nah, they're all facing the right way. Sometimes they're not. The base is not right. E and Alt S, and I'm going to pull. I'm going to pull it in like that. And I'll take the whole thing and S, I'll just scale it a bit bigger, like that. Okay. So we'll have that. To connect, let's come back here and borrow a circle from here. Let's just grab that whole face. Shift D to duplicate, and we'll pull it right up to the top. Like that. I'm going to break it out, P to break it out, so it's a separate object. I'll be joining all of this in a bit. And I'm looking from the side, and I'm going to E to extrude and just come right down, make sure that I can have something that this connects to. And that's looking okay. So now what I'll do is I'll just bring that down, and maybe I'll just I to inset and E to extrude, just do something like that. And here I'm going to want to press E to extrude, pull down, and scale it out like that, so it's, you have something to attach to the globe. And I'll E to extrude, I'll pull it down a bit. I think I'm going to have to come up, Control plus to there, and pull it down so it seems like it touches that. I'm going to slash key to focus on this and come in here and just select that bottom face, and X faces delete that. So let's bevel this now. It's not a very exciting object, but we're just modeling some stuff. And I'll be keeping this unless I see a problem with it. I'm not going to rebuild this. And it's not going to be overly complicated anyhow. Let's just come up here, and I'll bevel there. So that'll fix the shading, slash key. So we have this, and I think I'll use the same piece on the bottom. So I'm just going to come in edit mode and Shift D. I'm going to rotate Y 180, and I'm just going to bring it down here. Zoom in and see that it looks like it roughly makes contact. Now, of course, this will be shade smooth, maybe even a subdivision. We'll see. Just like that, I guess. Okay, and then we'll have to join this to this. So how about if I haven't really looked at globes for a while, so I may be making some mistakes here. And if I just send that up, I'll do that, and I'll bevel that. I think I'll bevel that edge as well here. I can shade smooth. Actually, let's flip this because it looked like it was wrong before. And by the way, does it have a bottom? No, it doesn't. Okay. And let's work on this thing here. Let's get rid of. Do I want this just like that? Do I want it to end there? I'm going to do it that way. So I'm just going to slash key to focus on this. I can get rid of this face here and this face here. I just want to decide if I want to scale it a little bit there. Again, I end up spending too much time on one thing, and this will end up being a rather long video. I may even put a subdivision. I just did, but we'll try it like that. All right, we'd have to unwrap this and put some kind of image on it. But for the moment, I think what I'll do is I'm going to select it and bring my 3D cursor there and switch to the 3D cursor as my pivot. And then I'm going to take all of this stuff. So I got those two things and that, and I guess that. And I'm going to look from the side, and I'm going to press R to rotate. And I know there's a certain number of degrees, and I'm just going to pull it down. I think I'll extend this up. I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't know if it makes sense or not. I'm okay with it. And let's take this and Control plus to expand the selection a little bit. Let's go back to median point, and we'll pull this through. And hopefully that looks like it makes sense. I think maybe it'll come down further. No, it'll hit, won't it? That's going to be just fine for what we're doing. Now, can I get away without a subdivision on there? I really do like it, to tell you the truth. And so I think I'm going to apply that subdivision. And for now, I'm going to join all of these parts together. And we have a globe. And it looks rather large. So I'll just scale it down just a little bit. Push it on there. Let's check this. Okay, so we have that flipped. Okay. All right, so that'll just be a prop to use at some point. We'll have a few, you know, some pencils and some books and stuff like that. And if I don't like this design, I'll do something else later. All right, it's time to get to work on the desks. So let's bring this teacher back here. And imagine he's at the front of the class. I'm going to bring in another cube. All right, let's try this. Let's go for, let's try 30 inches. That's roughly how high that would be. And let's bring teacher over here. I may go a little higher than that. Let's look at 28 inches. Not that. In the X. Okay. Well, we're going to start with that slash key just for the moment. So it's coming under here and pull this up and start getting the approximate desk surface thickness. And at some point, we're going to stop using the measurements. Okay, I'm just looking at that as a surface of a desk. And I'm actually going to come up a little bit higher. And I'm going to start with that and build the desk out of it. But before I go any further, I'm going to Shift D to duplicate that, pull it over here. I'm going to look from the side in wireframe, grab that, and I'm going to create a bit of the base of the seat. Let's change the scale of that as well. And I got to make sure there's enough room for the legs to go under. And you'll see the style of desk that I plan to make. That may not be the exact right dimensions, but we're going to start with that. And I'm going to, am I going to round it right now? Or do I want a piece of this? I'm going to Shift D to duplicate, pull that down, P to break it out, and just leave it there. Because I'm going to make the kind of desk where you have the little cubby hole underneath. You know, you can put your pencils and your books and stuff there. So I want that piece. So I'm going to go ahead and round these corners a little bit. Control B to bevel, and I'm going to use just 3. And Shift Alt and click the top and the bottom. And I debated if I wanted to have a slightly bigger bevel on the top Then on the bottom, still with 3. I don't know that you're really going to notice it. You know, that it's almost a little bit sharper on the bottom. Okay, so we're starting to get that. Okay, so the next thing I would do is I want this thing, I'm going to scale it down a bit and just bring it here. I'm going to just extrude it up and get rid of that face. And then I'm going to take this bottom face and pull it down a little bit to get the sense of how big I would want that thing where you could store your books and stuff. So, and then I'll adjust the position of the seat, and I'll just want to get this size. This is going to, I'm going to have some bars on there, so that's kind of what we're going for. That's actually, we'll delete that front face. We don't need that. It's going to look like that. So this will be the time when I will start to say, hey, that looks too wide or whatever. I'm not going to do any fancy bending on this thing. All right, so we have that. So let's take that and focus on it. And I want to bevel. Let's see, that one and that one. I'll bevel those first. Control B with 3. Then I'm going to bevel the bottom. Now I'm going to add solidify, even thickness, slash key. And I think I'm going to go with that thickness of solidify. And so I'm going to apply that. And now I'm going to come in and Shift Alt and click that edge. All the way around. Probably shouldn't have beveled that first. I don't know if that'll be a problem. Let's try it. And these ones here. Let's focus on this. Okay, and I'm not going to need the top, so I'm going to select this face, and I'm going to hold Control and click that one, and it'll go all the way around. I'm going to delete those faces. Let's shade smooth that for the moment. And that's what I'm getting. I can shade smooth this. We'll have to do some work maybe on it. Let's start with that. And I can adjust the dimensions in a bit. So now I'm going to do the legs of that. And I think I will just take, I just want an edge. Shift D to duplicate. I'm going to pull that up a bit, a little bit out. P to break it out. And I'm going to focus on this stuff here. So I'm going to slash key so I can see that. 3 to look from the side. Take this, go into edit mode to scale it down a bit. So I want a little bit of this showing on the sides. So first of all, I'm going to pull that up to there. And I'm going to press E to extrude, and I'm going to come down to around where the floor would be. I'm going to X edges, so I just have that. Now I'm going to go back. I just want to think about this for a moment and decide if I think that's a wide enough legs. And I think it is. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to go into edit mode, press 1 for vertex selection. I just want to select these 2 vertices. I'll pull them down a little bit. And I'm going to round those by beveling. Shift Control B. I have to press Shift Control B, not just Control B, to do these vertices. I'm going to pull, there's 3. I'm going to pull up 4, 5, and I get 5 like that. So those bars are going to be like that. All right, I'm going to convert that to a curve. Come over to the curve dialog box under geometry, bevel depth, and I'm going to start giving this some depth, just pulling to the right. And I will probably have to Control A, rotation and scale. I'll just make sure anyhow. And just come up with, that's 0.03. Let's try 0.04 and see if I'm going to like that. I'm going to, let's select this and bring my 3D cursor there, use that as my point so I can mirror across that and bring one to the other side. And it may not be exactly, let's set origin a 3D cursor and just get a sense of if that's what I'm going to like. I'm going to shade smooth. So what I would want to do is have another bar underneath here at the front, joining to these, and at the back. And I think that's probably okay, you know. So let's do that. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to select those 2 points for this straight piece. Shift D to duplicate, pull down. Now I actually want on the sides here ones as well. So I'm going to actually use that as well. So I'm going to press P to break them out, and I'll make these a little narrower, but we'll scale in the Y first so that they sort of make contact, and then I'm going to come over to the curves, and that was 0.04. Let's try 0.03 for the thickness and see if we like that. So something like that for more support, and then I'll go across underneath so that when we topple some of these desks, you know, we'll see some more interesting geometry. Hopefully, anyhow. So let's try this. With that done, let's Shift D to duplicate, rotate Z 90, and let's get rid of the mirror on this guy and just start playing here. I can set the origin to geometry. And at this point, actually, let's just focus on the desk. So let's take all the parts of the desk. See, do I have everything? Okay. I will take this. I'll look from the side. I might go into wireframe and just G to drag this up. Put it under there. Shift D and put it under there. And let's have a look at that. Let's take them and scale them in the X until they go into there. So that would hold that. All right, so feet. What to do for feet? I don't really feel like doing anything for feet right now. So what I will do is, I'm pretty good with those dimensions. I might change a little bit. I think what I'll do is I'm going to start applying stuff. No, it's a curve. So I'm going to change the resolution on this to 3. And I'm going to convert it to a mesh, and that'll apply the mirror as well. I'm going to use 3 on this and convert to mesh, and I'm going to join those, and let's see what we got here. 3 and join, and although there will be different materials, I will likely join all of these together as one piece. So we have just one desk, but I will go in and I will merge by distance. Just think, I got rid of a couple. Alt N, recalculate outside. And we'll double check the orientation. That looks good. Okay, so we have a desk, and so let's start looking at the chair. I'm going to scale like this, and before I do anything like that, I will take this and move it over here. I'll lose my chair, but I want to do a quick array on the desks at least. In fact, let's fix up the shading here using a weighted normal and normal's auto smooth. And I'll just throw that above the array. And in the array, I'm going to, let's pull these out. Let's see, I'm thinking of 3 and having this one kind of centered on the teacher, although I don't know if that's the center there. Well, yeah, I guess that's the center. My 3D cursors in the center. And I'm going to add another array and send them back this way. Zero out that. And I'll probably have to move them all closer to the front, but just to start to get a sense of the classroom with desks. And that's all. I wouldn't make any more than that. You would never have a class of 9. Well, I've never had a class of 9. They were always 30 or 32. But you know, maybe in a special school. And let's move teacher back. So we'll move all of those, but just to get a sense of the desks, it's not too bad. And then maybe I might need more space or less space. So let's just let's turn off the erase for now and start thinking about this. It's going to come like this, and I'm going to have another piece that comes up here and goes up there. So I'm going to start with that and start building the legs on this thing. Using an edge again, Shift D, pull it out, P to break it out. It's going to be very similar to that desk. I need to just focus on this stuff, and I want to focus on all of that, I think, just to have it in the same view. Scale that in a bit. I know it's a bit hard to see. There we go. So I'm going to pull those in a little bit. And that feels high to me. So I'm going to go ahead, though, and I'm going to extrude them down and out. These ones are going to curve out like that. I'm going to X edges just to get rid of that one. And I can build it here, and then I can see. So again, I'm going to do the same beveling, Control B, pull, and I want 5. And it will be something like that. Okay, I'm going to convert that to a curve. And I think I used 0.04 before. They don't have to be the same, but let's try. And let's Control A, rotation and scale. No, I'm not going to make them that big. Maybe I did 0.03. I can't remember. I think I'm going to go with that. But I want to rethink the position of this seat. And I'm going to pull it down and think about a kid sitting there with the feet underneath, not too high off the ground, and pull that down as well. And now I'll take this and I'll bring my 3D cursor there so I can mirror this. Let's set the origin of the 3D cursor and mirror that across. And we could start with that. I can adjust all the positions in a bit. We'll shape this in a while too. In fact, we could start, well, we're going to borrow this. All right, we're going to borrow this. Shift D to duplicate. G, bring it up. We're going to rotate X 90. I'm going to scale in the Z. I'm going to break it out. We're going to leave it there for now. And the backs of these things are not really much higher than the desk surface for these chairs. So I'm going to do that. I might go a little bit higher. We'll see. So the next thing I want to do is I want to do more of these curved things, pipe-like things. And the way I'll do it is I'm just going to take another edge, Shift D to duplicate. I'm going to pull it down and under like that. And it's not going to be in that exact position, but I'm going to take this point, pull it under a little bit. This one I'm going to join to another one. So I'm actually going to put a mirror on this, but it looks like I didn't separate. Control L, P to break it out. And I'm going to put a mirror on that. I'm going to turn on clipping, and I'm going to pull this point, and it's going to meet in the middle. Then I'm going to come back to this point here. It'll be mirror on the other side. I'm going to look from the side, and I'm just going to pull it back a little bit. In fact, I may pull it back to there and adjust the size of the seat. And then I'm going to come up on an angle. And don't worry that I'm hitting that thing because that's in the wrong spot. I just want a gentle angle on the chair like that. Then I'll move this piece. And I want it a little bit above the desk surface as well. And I'm going to angle it in a little bit. Not too much, just taper it in a bit. So we roughly have this. Okay, so let's work on this now. We're going to need to round some edges or some vertices. So that one, Shift Control B, pull with 5. Not going to see it very well, but when you tip the chair over, you see that it's curved. I'm going to take this one, Shift Control B, Get a nice little curve. We will then, of course, have to move this seat and adjust the size of it. And it's going to go like that. Now, once I make this into a tube-like thing, it is a little hard to adjust the angle. You know, once I've actually put these vertices in for the curve, so you know, that's probably too much. So let's just see. If I go in a wireframe, if I take all of them, I mean, I could start putting pivots and stuff like that. I may have to. Let's see, if I put a pivot there, did I get both of them? No. Oh, it's mirrored, that's right, okay. Let's see if I put the 3D cursor there. I may be wasting time here. Nah, that's probably all right. Let's just go with it. Okay. Maybe a little high, I don't know, I can't tell. So yeah, let's take this and let's convert this to a curve. And I can now get rid of that extra vertex when we don't need it. Let's give it some thickness, and I use 0.03, I think. Let's Control A, do that. Okay, so we have that piece. Now I can move that forward if I want. If I look from any angle, really. I applied the mirror, right? The mirror's gone, okay. I'll do it again, but I mean, I'm just saying I could pull that out if I want to have it closer to that bar. And I can do the same thing here. Okay, and we can look down. We could say, you know what, it needs to come up to about there. That's fine. Okay, just once again, you know, so now you know what, I don't want it that far. I want a little bit of distance like that. All right, okay, well, let's just go with that. And we can shade smooth that. This piece will end up coming up in front. So let's work on the chair itself now, the seat part of it. And yeah, so what we're going to do, let's look down at it. I hope it's the right. I'm going to scale this in the axis a little bit, taper it ever so slightly. And we're going to do some rounding on the backs here. We'll round. I'm going to round separately, Control B and pull. I don't mind having 5 on there. And the front I'm going to round more, so that's why I did them separately. I want to have a bigger bevel like that, kind of. I'm going to Shift Alt and click the top and the bottom. And I'm going to round these, or bevel, but I just need 3. So we have that. And I can adjust the position, you know, if I need to come a little forward. And I like to put a little dip in it. So let's just look from the top. This is a big N-gon. I can't Control R through it anymore. So I'm going to select it. And I didn't even bring my 3D cursor there to make it a bit easier. So there's the center. And so I'm just going to select it all, and I'm going to come up to Mesh Bisect. And then I'm just going to press the left mouse button and cut through, so just pull through pretty much in the middle. And then straighten this by SX0. And now I can bevel this edge. Control B and pull. And I'm going to pull out to here. I don't want to overlap these vertices in the curve, so just pull out to about there and roll my mouse up so I have 5 edges in there. Like that. All right. So just wanted to make sure that this edge doesn't go on to these vertices. I'm just going to select, Shift Alt and click that edge. Come into proportional editing and switch to sphere. Start pulling down and rolling my mouse up, and just give a bit of a gentle curve like that. Take the whole thing and just pull it up a little bit, just like that. It's good enough. Make it shade smooth. So yeah, so I have that. I'll do the same thing on this piece here. And if that's too thin, I can thicken that. Like I can scale this in, although they're not that thick. Yeah, whatever. I just thought I'd do that. Okay, so let's work on this piece now. I'm going to bring it up so that these are just right below that. And I might scale this in the Z. Just have it like kind of like that. And then I'll round that as well. And do I want to have it the same width? Do I want it smaller than that? I'm just going to go with that, and then I can adjust it. So I'm going to select these edges here in edge selection, and we'll bevel these. Nice big round bevel. These ones, but only with 3 now. And yeah, okay. And I'm going to do the same thing. I can just look from an orthographic view. I'm going to mesh, bisect, and just try to get it roughly in the middle. Scale X 0. And I didn't do that all that accurately, but I'm just going to pull out to about there. Roll up till I have 5. Select there. Proportional editing. Pull back and just give myself, something like that. Turn that off. Okay, now I'm going to look from the side, and I'm going to rotate this and just position it. Shade smooth. How's that look? Now's the time when you wonder if the sizes are right. Sometimes hard to tell. I can adjust all this stuff later. So I think it's okay. I think I will start. Well, actually, this is not in the right position. This has to be. Let's see. Put the mirror on there. Okay, maybe I'll take the seat and scale in the X a little bit. So it looks like that. Pull that in a bit. You can do another bar. Sometimes I'll like to do that, but that's basically the idea there. Yeah. All right. Well, what I'm going to do is how far down do those go? Okay, I'm going to convert this to a mesh, so make it 3 and convert to a mesh, make it 3 and convert to a mesh. I'm going to join those, but up here I'm going to cap those off. I'm going to select F to make a face, select F to make a face, and with both of them I'm going to Control B with just 3, so at least they're closed. And is there anything on this? No. And this Control J. And there's my chair. I'll select it all, M, merge by distance, so you can get rid of anything. Recalculate outside and double check. All right, so that desk may be the right size and it may not be the right size. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to actually just join, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to join those together for now. Put on the arrays and have a look at this. Mr. Teacher, you're going to move. You guys are going to move in here a little bit, and we're also going to play with this. Think how much distance there'd be. All right, so this is what we have so far. And we'll work on scale later if there's some stuff we have to do. These desks may be a little bit too long this way. In fact, while I'm here, if I could focus just on that. Let's have another look at this. I do believe that all this needs to come in. so it's a little bit more rectangular. Okay, let's put the array on and see when they're all together. How's that? Okay, it's just tweaking and deciding on the sizes. All right, so I think what we'll do is we'll leave it at that point, and as we come back, we'll do more details. We're going to do the teacher's desk. We're going to do a chalkboard. We're going to adjust the size of all of this stuff, and we'll keep working on the post-apocalyptic classroom. All right, thanks very much for watching. See you in the next part.